Now on to the story of a champion who overcame all odds to become a sports star in her own right. Vishal Baristow meets the woman.
Malik has won mentions in the Limca Book of Records in two different categories. In January this year, she set a new record for riding a special bike for 55 kilometers at a stretch. She backstroked against the Yamuna currents for a kilometer.
I trained for 3 months at Lakshmi Bai National Institute of Physical Education at Gwalior. And it was hard work because my coach told me we don't get permissions in my disability category. They don't allow people in my disability category to take that open river water swimming. It has never been done in India before. And I had to really take a special permission and convince them that I want to do this.
यमुना किनारे दीपा को लेकर लोग नदी की तरफ बढ़े तो सब देखने को बेचैन थे कि दीपा तैरेगी कैसे। जिसका आधा जिस्म बेजान हो, लकवे से जिसके पैर न हिलते हों, वो तैरेगी कैसे? पर दीपा ने तैरना शुरू कर दिया।
Very proud that I'm back from a Leh Ladakh exhibition drive, which I did in my vehicle, driving as one of the drivers. Did 3,000 kilometers in 10 days, covering 9 high altitude passes on the highest motorable roads, doing an average of 300 kilometers per day at an average high altitude of 15,000 feet above sea level. This was the year of 1999, summer, when doctors took me in for a checkup. By then, the three-dimensional MRIs had come into place. Within 15 minutes, they saw that my tumors were back, and they were back with a vengeance. And within 15 minutes, all I got was 7 days to celebrate walking. They said, Deepa, it's going to be a major surgery, and this tumor is going to burst. You may die. You can also die on the operation table if there is lack of oxygen to your brain, because we are going to be operating on your brain stem. The tumors are back and they have traveled upwards. Well, with a husband at the war, one daughter under treatment, younger daughter barely 3 years old, a year that was celebrated feeling beautiful like a beauty queen, was going to be a year where I was going to lose my legs, if at all I live. Things just went 360 degree. I could have cried, lamented, been angry, frustrated. I could have sweared to the Almighty. But I'm so fortunate that I had learned to be a solution finding person. I had learned to be a person of gratitude, that at least I have the facilities to cope up with my treatment. Containing my positivity, I decided to look for solutions. I started looking for solutions and learning about the situation. I started talking to the various doctors. They said I'll be needing a water gel mattress. I bought one. I created artificial, those makeshift ramps in the house. I bought a wheel. So I started preparing. In short, I really prepared. I even bought call bells, a remote call bells like these where I could just place them in my neighbor's house and tell my little girls in case of emergency, because mummy will not be able to walk. I customized the bathroom. I even bought a microwave because I learned that microwaves were just coming in the year of 1999. And I felt that maybe if the maid has cooked, my children will at least be able to put the tiffin and press two buttons and heat the food. I prepared, and I always tell that whenever you spend time learning about the situation, and the learning can only begin when you have accepted the change. There will be adversities. This is life. It cannot be a straight line. Even a heartbeat goes up and down, which denotes that we are alive. If it's a straight, smooth line with no challenges, no adversities, um, nothing to fear, nothing to look for solutions around it, I think we would be as good as dead. But thankfully, I looked for solutions because I was able to accept that big change which was going to happen in my life. Once you accept, you leave yourself scope of adapting. And adapting is nothing but learning or upskilling yourself to be able to cope up with that situation, whether it is physically, emotionally, or even intellectually. We have to allow ourselves to learn, to prepare. And trust you me, even something as grave as preparing, I even put my expensive jewelry in the locker. I went and met my children's teachers. I employed a physiotherapist to come and give exercises to my elder daughter who was still recovering for her hemiplegia on the left side. When I reached the hospital in Delhi, I knew that this could be either death or paralysis. Well, my surgery got complicated. I had one surgery, then I had another surgery. And post the surgeries, there was 3 weeks of coma. I was on ventilator. But finally, when I did wake up, because somewhere in my heart, I knew I'm not going to give up. It was the same hospital where every 1 hour a helicopter was landing from the Kargil war, picking up war casualties. And the only prayer I could make lying, I was subconscious, and right there I used to say, oh, I hope my husband is not in one of these helicopters. At least one parent should be okay for the daughter, especially when your own daughter is under treatment. I knew it's going to be a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of exercising. I started preparing myself, and once I woke up to a body which is chest below totally paralyzed. I have more than 7 vertebral discs chopped for removal of the tumors. I have a kyphotic deformity happening in my spinal column because they could not put a titanium plate. Every 2 years, I have to be taken into MRI for follow-up on my tumors. They even give me uh, some part of radiation and chemotherapy, which breaks my body totally down. And every 2 years, I have to restart my system. The medicines are so harsh. Only half my lungs inflate. I can't lift both my arms together because I don't have torso balance. My sensation is totally not there below chest. I don't even have proper human temperature control system because of the spinal cord injury. If it is too warm, body becomes too warm. I have to be very, very conscious of whether I'll be in an air conditioned room, whether I'll be in the sunny area. I have to consciously keep an eye on that. So many times when I'm wearing a layer extra because my spine is cut open and I have to keep my back warm and I wear a coat even in summers, people make fun of my dressing sense. I have to wear high ankled boots all the time to support my ankles because I don't have control on the ankles. People say, oh, what a footwear is she wearing? She doesn't know she's wearing winter footwear. So easy to judge somebody and so easy to pass an opinion with your stereotypical thinking. Who is more disabled or who is more limited in their movement or thought process? I think, is it me as a paralyzed person who is continuously looking for solutions, or is it the others who have very limited outlook or stereotypical thought process that they are passing their judgment? And that's what we do. We have to rise above these habits. And other challenges that I face is I don't have a bladder or a bowel control. So every drop of water that I have to drink is timed. Thankfully, I had learned a good innate nature of time management. I could adapt easily because I already had this good habit. When to drink, time myself, okay, I have to empty my bladder, then wear a diaper, then go out. When I'm out, will I get a place to lie down and change a diaper, or how much water will I be able to drink? Where logistically should I stop? I have my friends and I have stops. I have created that support system for myself. If I'm in Gurgaon and I have to leave from Noida, if from Noida I have to go to Rohini, from Rohini I have to go. I always logistically time myself, find a friend, and I'm very open in asking for help. Hello, my dear friend. I'm going to be in this area. May I come to your home just to change a diaper? I always carry a baby bag around with me because I am a person of solutions. So instead of thinking, no, 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 I can't come out, I won't be able to attend a particular function or a particular, uh, undertake a particular journey, because I am very, very open on discussing what my requirements are. And I've always understood that whenever you are openly exchanging a communication, 99% people are going to be positive about it and come forward and give you support. Most of the time, we live in our own web of thoughts and get caught in it. Once I was in this body and I was learning how to survive, what to drink, what to eat. Same happens with the stool. I have to time my eating, how much to eat, when to eat. If I don't drink enough water, I end up with urinary tract infections and my tubes collapse. I have to be taken to the hospital for catheterization. If I don't balance my food, I can have a loose stomach, my stool can come out anywhere, anytime, and can embarrass me. If I end up with constipation, I have to be taken to the hospital for anemia and removal of stool from my body. You know, living in this body with so many medical complications for 25 years and being 54 years old, I think I still look hot. When I was trying to live in this new body, adapting to this body, I thought everybody is going to talk about my bravery. But you know what? I was surprised. Anybody and everybody around me had become a hero. Oh, what a good husband. He's still keeping her. Oh my God, poor children. Uh, they are, look at them, poor children. Oh my God. But देखो दोनों daughters हैं, कुछ बोलती नहीं है. Deepa is so lucky. Her in-laws are keeping her. I was taken to the farmhouse of my in-laws. When in a way it was very luxurious but very lonely. Whatever I did, everybody was a hero, and all I was a liability, a financial burden, a living dead body, somebody who will die in their own room, in their own urine and in own feces. And that kind of identity was not uh, something which was acceptable to me. And I felt that I come from an educated background. I have had the good fortune of going to good schools. I belong to a section of society which is all educated. And yet I'm facing these issues. What happens to those who are underprivileged? And there I found a purpose and I set on a journey called Ability Beyond Disability, a journey of continuous learning, a journey of finding my own path, because in my disability, I really couldn't research anybody who had done something notable. I did not have, that's when I decided that Deepa, you have to become the change that you want to see around you. How Mahatma Gandhi says, be the change that you want to see. It meant a lot of risk taking. It meant a lot of learning. It meant a lot of convincing, fighting with the policies. When I wanted to start a garden restaurant in Ahmednagar, Maharashtra, I did not know what is the local palate taste. I started with underprivileged children and I made them the delivery boys. We would send out initially just 20 tiffin packets. Imagine in 2003, I started home delivery system. I don't think at that point of time even these applications were out. But I looked at the gap and I said, okay, let me do this. And can you imagine, not one, two, when people had doubts that will I be able to feed my children, I was actually feeding 400 people per day. My husband left army getting influenced by others by saying, oh, how are you going to take her around the country? She will not be able to, live at the far-flung areas. Travel will be difficult. And without consulting me, my husband left army and he really did not have much of a financial plan in his hand. But when my restaurant entrepreneurship took off, I was earning 4 times more than his pension. And I could no longer be called a financial liability. But I had to learn. I had to learn how to get the curries made. I had to learn how to do the banking. I had to learn how to pay my taxes. I had to learn how to go and take permissions and licenses for food and serving. So much I had to learn. But the only key was that I was willing to learn. I was curious enough to learn. Uh, and then I also wanted to send out a loud and clear message. Every time I was being singled out for the body that I was in, I would I wanted to scream on top of my voice and say, my body is paralyzed, but my heart and my soul is not paralyzed. Please, I'm still the same Deepa who wants to travel, who wants to have fun, who wants to have picnics, who wants to have fashion in her life, who wants to smile and laugh and get socially integrated, who wants to drive, who wants to be a biker again, who wants to do adventure again. And I, at the age of 35, decided, I said, okay, high time. I have to find these solutions and not just for me, but make a message or change the stereotype for the world. I was on this mission called Ability Beyond Disability. My product was ready, but who is going to buy my product? My product means the thought process, the mindsets changing. I needed an advertising campaign, and which will be my advertising campaign? So I decided to do some records. I wanted to play the 3 records video. I learned to swim. I learned to drive. I fought for policies for licenses and Motor Vehicle Act. And after all this, so many times we say, "Mere karne se kya hoga?" But imagine learning information technology, reaching out to people from a small town of Maharashtra, getting the policies changed, and then ending up making some world records.
Now on to the story of a champion who overcame all odds to become a sports star in her own right. Vishal Baristow meets the woman.
Malik has won mentions in the Limca Book of Records in 2 different categories. In January this year, she set a new record for riding a special bike for 55 kilometers at a stretch. She backstroked against the Yamuna currents for a kilometer.
I trained for 3 months at Lakshmibai National Institute of Physical Education at Gwalior. And it was hard work because my coach told me we don't get permissions in my disability category. They don't allow people in my disability category to take that open river water swimming. It has never been done in India before. And I had to really take a special permission and convince them that I want to do this.
यमुना किनारे दीपा को लेकर लोग नदी की तरफ बढ़े तो सब देखने को बेचैन थे कि दीपा तैरेगी कैसे। जिसका आधा जिस्म बेजान हो, लकवे से जिसके पैर ना हिलते हों, वो तैरेगी कैसे? पर दीपा ने तैरना शुरू कर दिया।
Very proud that I'm back from a Leh Ladakh exhibition drive, which I did in my vehicle, driving as one of the drivers. Did 3,000 kilometers in 10 days, covering 9 high altitude passes on the highest motorable roads, doing an average of 300 kilometers per day at an average high altitude of 15,000 feet above sea level. Of course, in 2010, I took my journey to sports a bit seriously. From a swimmer, I slowly transited into an athlete. At the age of 40, I got an opportunity for competing at the Commonwealth Games, which was in athletics. So I started learning athletics. But when I picked up a javelin at the age of 40, so I closed down my 7-year-old business and everybody called me a fool. They said, you were all right doing swimming. You suddenly want to learn uh, athletics. She's gone mad. But I took that chance. I took that risk because I knew if I put my mind to something, I'm going to go deep dive into it, learn it, practice it, give it hours of practice. And I did just that. And to raise some funds, I slowly became a motivational speaker with the corporates because corporates at that point of time had no CSR policies towards para sports. But they had some fundings available for the speakers that came and motivated. It was not easy. I had to find this solution and then learn what is the corporate language? What am I going to speak to these young millennials? Will I be making an interesting story? Or will I ever be invited and paid for doing so? Well, that was also a lot of hard work. It's not easy to speak in front of 300-400 people and make sense of what you are speaking or reach out to their hearts, touch them. But with this journey, I started practicing javelin and I became world number 2. I won at the age of 42 years. I won my Arjuna award and everybody said, 42 years, Arjuna award, picture with the president, go home. Now you can retire, you're an old lady. But I did not listen to the voices from outside. I heard the voice within, which said, Deepa, if you have done swimming, made a world record by crossing a river, if you have done rallies, you have made a world record driving across the highest motorable roads, if you are playing, you cannot retire without winning the highest medal, which is the Paralympic medal. I continued to work hard, but just before my Paralympics opportunity, my event changed to shot put. There was no longer javelin, which I had practiced for almost 5 years and become world number 2. With just 11 months to go, and everybody laughed. They said we had already told her to retire. Now she's going to make fun of herself. But fortunately, by then, one was able to work on some policies by becoming a member in the five-year planning commission as appointed by the HRD division. With at-par policies now in place, I was getting proper funding through Target Olympic Podium Scheme. I worked hard with barely 11 months to go and a new event which I had to master. I participated in. When I qualified, I had just thrown 3.67 meters and I was world ranking 10th. And when I was to go for the Rio Paralympics on my final trials, I had thrown 4.48 meters, for which I was dragged to the High Court by a fellow competitor saying a old lady cannot improve from 3.67 meters to 4.48 meters. She has cheated her way. Coming from an army background, being that person of honesty and dedication, I think the medal was secondary for me. With that kind of mental pressure and a high court case on me, I reached, after winning that case, you can Google it. It is called Karam Jyoti versus Union of India. Just before Paralympics, that kind of mental stress. But that is where they say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. These are not quotations. These are not just sayings said by some great person. If you put them in your habit, and excellence is not an act, it's an habit. You have to practice it every day. I want you to see this video. Qualifying at 3.67 meters, dragged to High Court at 4.48 meters. See, under that pressure, I won my medal with what this.
Yes, the women's shot put F53 final. This a seated throwing event. And this is Deepa Malik of India. All the throws happening together. Malik, who's won silver in the shot in the 2011 World Championships. She's from New Delhi. It was a decent one out towards 5 meters here. And that's 4.61.
Well, here's history. India's first ever female Paralympic medalist in any sport. Deepa Malik picks up the silver. From New Delhi, silver medalist in the javelin at the 2014 Asian Games.
If I had crumbled under that pressure, if I had stopped believing in my preparation, if I had lost my self-belief, I would not have presented the first ever female medal, which was not just mine, but it belonged to 140. And if I had given up and had crumbled against the in the pressure, how would have I had this wonderful moments? Imagine breaking the barriers. I just want you to see that a woman who was destined to die in a room in a urine was actually on the label of a drink where only cricketers and actors and that too male people are seen. You know, they said at 42 retire. If I had listened to others and stopped working hard and stopped upgrading and upskilling myself and raising my own bar, how at the age of 47 I would have got this Padma Shri from the President of India. And if I had given up playing sports at the age of 42, then how at 49 I would have earned this Khel Ratna, which I won at the very unconventional age of 49 years. You know, Martina Navratilova had once said, when she was asked, how come you play at 43, you're playing Grand Slam? And she said, the ball doesn't know my age. Seriously, it is all about mind over body. And thanks to playing sports, I could internationally get recognized, not just nationally. This is a picture of President of New Zealand, Prime Minister of New Zealand, Jacinda Ardern, Madam, who chose me as her fellow or Sir Edmund Hillary Fellow from across the world. Can you imagine? That's what uh, the sports or your hard work can bring in. You don't even know what is lying in store for you. Imagine not just being applauded in India, but having another country releasing a stamp in your honor. That's a stamp which was released in Bhutan. And I was on the postal cover and the stamps of India. So this is what my journey has taught me, and this is why I share. There is so much more to share. Even after concluding my career at the age of 50 years, I transited into the role of an administrator. I started learning how to make competition calendars, how to write budgets. I was only playing sports in one category, which is athletics or swimming. But when I was the administrator, I had to make projects for 17 different sports. And I could not have convinced the government or people to do it if I had not had the knowledge as a team leader. I didn't know anything about running a federation. And then I was given a federation in the times of COVID. So we used information technology to our benefit, introduced science, mental training, translating the international rules into local languages and having webinars, taught the athletes how to use information technology. We devised new ways and encouraged people. So, and now that I have completed my tenure as the president, you know, I always say that when I had gone to Rio, I got one medal for the country. But as a team leader, when I took the team to Tokyo, we won 19 medals for the country. In the recently held Asian Para Games, where India never knew about para sports, when our Olympic sports people won 107 medals and Modi ji had given out that slogan, Is bar 100 par, we also lived up to the expectation, and we in fact surpassed. Under the leadership, 111 medals were won at the Asian Para Games. So the participation of women increased by 300%. So these are the contributions you can give back. And when my tenure was ending and everybody said, Deepa, you have finished playing, your sports career has ended. Okay, you have drawn history by becoming the first ever athlete and a woman to become a president of the Paralympic Committee. Now it's going to be a dead end. But you know what I did? I ended up enrolling myself in the Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, and I cleared my exam with high credentials in independent director. And two leading corporate firms. Even at 54, I'm learning. And that's what I tell everybody, that it is one life, and life is the only festival that can be celebrated every day. So don't just live, be alive.